Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 3 of Probably Aliens. Okay.
What up, guys?
My name's Jordan, by the way.
I thought you had more to say. Sorry.
I had so much to
Probably
say.
aliens.
Yeah. Well, we got a guest. Well, first of all, who's the other host? Nobody.
Oh, sorry. I'm Trey.
Not important. Don't worry about him.
And we got a guest. What do
I'm
you wanna
Cody.
go by?
I'm the most important one.
Okay.
Cody.
He was so important that he wasn't on the first two.
We got a busy schedule.
But yeah, Project SERPO, which is a really crazy story, really, if you think about it, and like all the details and stuff that goes into it. It's pretty nanners, not gonna lie.
Nanners.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but you said this was your favorite conspiracy theory?
It's up there.
It's up there?
Kind of up. Yeah, it's up there because I just feel like I don't know if I want. We'll get into like towards the end what our opinion on it and if we believe it or not. But it almost feels like a movie to an extent.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a really good story.
It really is.
It's one of those that you want to be real, you know? You want
Yeah.
to believe it.
You want Steven Spielberg to make a movie about it.
Well, I guess
But,
go ahead and start us out. Yeah, tell us what SERPO is, Jordan.
Well,
we gotta do.
We have to
We gotta do
our
interesting
science.
space news.
Yeah, we gotta do our science this
Space
week. You,
news.
Yeah.
you can go first, Trey.
Alrighty. So this was when I was doing research for it. So it was like last week.
Mhm.
But so according to this article, which was Friday, August 6th, the NASA Perseverance rover it drilled its first hole on Mars. The full procedure is part of a sampling process to study the planet's geology. And NASA announced that the endeavor on Friday, August 6th. The full process will take about 11 days to complete. The mission will also be celebrating its 6th month on Mars next week, which is this week, Wednesday, August 11th. Or I'm sorry, 18th. Sorry. But also, more on Mars. On Thursday, which was August 5th, from this article, NASA's Curiosity Mars rover reached a milestone. It has now been exploring Mars for 9 years. The Curiosity is helping scientists learn about Mars' past and how it came to be as today. During these 9 years, Curiosity has also discovered organic chemicals on Mars, which are carbon-containing building blocks of life as we know it.
So Curiosity
carbon.
found the cat.
Yeah, 9 years it took, though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now,
that's pretty cool.
Quick question for the two of you. What do you do if you have to change a tire on a rover?
Oh,
Is this
man.
like a joke?
I don't know.
No, it's a real problem that NASA was faced, and Goodyear came out and helped them with some of their engineers. They designed a tire. There's a type of metal that when heat is applied to it, it remembers its shape, right?
Mhm.
Bend it to a paper clip, bend it out, bend it a bunch, and it'll find its way back to a paper clip. The tires are made of this material, so as it rolls across and becomes punctured and bent around, that heat is generated and it remembers its shape.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's really
so
cool,
you gotta
actually.
think about that. This thing's been up there for 9 years with no maintenance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you seen the size of a rover? Like how
it's
big it is? Yeah.
It's a machine. Yeah.
Dang.
I mean, yeah, it's a
just
machine.
A little
That's
tidbit for you.
Very
The way to
interesting. I
describe
did not
it, it's
know
a
that.
machine.
Yeah.
All right, so my science this week is actually kind of cool too. It's actually a little bit old because we had to delay this episode a little bit, but basically a flight test of China's Hyperbola 1 rocket, it was unsuccessful, and China pretty much was its second failure for China. The rocket type is less than 6 months. The new rocket lifted off Monday, August 3rd at 3:39 a.m. And on Tuesday, it was pretty much at the launch center in northwest China. However, the following launch, the rocket didn't send its satellite into orbit as expected. So pretty much China just kind of took a big shit, I guess.
Man.
So they were just trying to send it into orbit?
Yeah, and it's like their second attempt, and they still couldn't get it in orbit. So
Is there anybody
Oh.
aboard or?
no, it's just
Was it
it's just their Hyperbola rocket.
Hmm.
But it's not like Jeff Bezos going
That's
into
some money
space.
right there.
But yeah, I mean, you got to think whenever
yeah.
stuff like this happens, it's a lot of money on the line. So
Yeah,
this is
definitely.
their second time. So
Man.
Well, that's what I was about to say. Like,
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Elon, he built that rocket for a tenth the price that NASA did, man, and he can reuse it.
Yeah.
It just goes to show, like, private enterprise, that's where it's at, you know?
But I'm with Jordan. Like, why is this just now their second attempt? Like, is spacefaring not as important to them? Or
I mean, they've been to space before. I'm not 100% sure. Hold on to see into the. Well, they were basically launching a satellite with the rocket. There's an abnormal performance was identified during the flight of the rocket. The satellite carried by the rocket did not enter orbit as scheduled. So the rocket had a satellite attached to it, and the satellite didn't get to reach orbit.
Yeah.
But they can put up like face recognition cams in, suburbia, China. Yeah, but they can't.
Stalking everybody.
But their second attempt, they failed. I mean, the technology behind that doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I mean that's crazy.
Which is thankfully there's nobody on board,
Right.
Yeah. I mean, thankfully there's nobody on board. But all right, that's pretty much this week in science. A couple kind of cool stuff, I guess. I guess we'll let Trey. Want to let the guest take over? Or you want Trey to take over for?
Yeah. I'll let y'all two go. Yeah, I'll let you and our guest go. Because for one, that article and the SERPO.org, I skimmed a few pages, but I didn't read the full 36-page list that it had on there. Yeah. But I got 4 pages worth of what I found out, and then we'll kind of bounce off each other.
Okay. I guess I could start. Project SERPO basically was this person who goes by the name of Request Anonymous posted on online forums that they were like a retired government employee or official, and they claimed that some very weird stuff, like they claimed that Roswell didn't occur as it was stated, that there was actually 2 crash sites. One was in southwest Corona, New Mexico, and one was Pelona Peak, which is also in New Mexico. And the crash involved 2 extraterrestrial aircraft. 2 aliens were recovered. One of them had actually died on impact. The Corona site was found a day later. One live entity, which they were saying was an EBE, was found hiding behind a rock. The entity was given water, pretty much declined the food. I guess they tried to give it food. And then basically they transferred the entity, the EBE, to Los Alamos Air Force Base, which is already shady because if you know anything about Los Alamos Air Force Base, there's a lot of shady shit that goes down, which I'm sure we could get into on other topics that we discuss in the future.
Definitely.
The site was examined and all evidence was removed. The bodies were taken to the Los Alamos National Laboratory and put on ice. And then the craft was actually taken to Roswell and then onto Wright Field, Ohio. So this is basically what Request Anonymous was claiming, and they had claimed that they had 3,000 pages worth of material that they were going to leak out to the public online over the next few years, kind of do a slow drip. But basically, the whole thing with SERPO in particular, and Project SERPO, was in 1965 that they had an alien exchange program, and that the states selected 12 military personnel, specifically 10 men, 2 women. They were highly trained, carefully removed from the military system. Basically, they took them and they kind of went MIA. That way that people wouldn't really kind of ask for them and kind of know what's going on. Near the northern part of the Nevada test site, the aliens landed and the 12 Americans left. One entity was left on Earth, an EBE. And basically the original plan was for the 12 people to stay 10 years and then return to Earth, but they actually stayed 13 years.
Yep.
Cody, you might have to fix your video, bud.
Frozen?
Yeah, you're frozen.
Oh, don't look at me. Don't look at me.
So basically, this is like an exchange program.
Yeah.
So you want to take over, Trey?
yeah. I'm just reiterating what you said. Planet SERPO project traces origin to the famous Roswell incidents where a UFO reportedly crashed. Like Jordan said, there was actually 2 crashes. And to kind of counteract what you had said, the remains of the second. Okay, so there was EV1, which extraterrestrial biological entity, and then it turns out there was another one. But the report I have says it wasn't found until 2 years later. It said by then 6 bodies of dead aliens had decomposed, so there wasn't much of them left. Even so, the remains were taken to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base for evaluation and study. And then we got the actual EB1 saying he was from Planet SERPO. It said EB1 worked with a salvage communication device in a space vehicle to try to contact his home planet. He tried 6 times, and all 6 times the communication system failed. In early 1952, EB1 sadly passed away without ever making contact to his home. But in December of 1952, military made contact with the alien race referred to as the Ebens or Ebens, who lived in the planet SERPO in the Zeta Reticuli system. Which, when I was researching this, Zeta Reticuli sounds like a strain of bacteria I take in my probiotic. So that was.
While you're talking about Zeta Reticuli right now, if you're watching on the live stream, this is a map. And then right beside me, and kind of between Cody and I, you can see Zeta Reticuli. That's the star system that this Eben had said that they were from. And
it's 30 light years away, right?
It's about 40, 39.
Yeah, 39 light years away. Yeah.
Okay, so to break this down, we got how many aliens, rotting, decomposing, spreading, whatever they brought with them on our Earth being discovered, already decomposed. Like, that is a huge problem I'm finding. Like,
yeah,
disease and whatever that they're bringing.
Right. Well, it was all just a weather balloon to the government. So
yeah.
But to hide that for so long, and even like I said, we're bouncing off each other. But my research has stated that there were 6 bodies of dead aliens that actually came out of the 2 crashes.
Yeah, it kind of ranges between everybody's, because this isn't just Request Anonymous. There's a couple other people that have came forward.
Yeah, it's like 80% of it's anonymous.
Yeah, it's like probably like 80% Request Anonymous, but
what's that?
It ranges. Yeah, that's what I was saying. It ranges from like 2 to 6 aliens, EBEs, that were, like I said, there's 2 crashes. So that kind of, if you think about it, that kind of just completely like throws what we thought about Roswell away, because we thought that there was just 1 crash.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So this, if you want to believe Project SERPO, you kind of have to reevaluate the way you look at Roswell.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then even bigger picture, like, we're looking at, intergalactic relations between 2 completely different species,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, this is a very big deal, that being why it's so interesting,
And just to put it in perspective, this was actually, somebody said that this is basically what an EBE or an Eben looked like, the one that had stayed behind. So if you can see behind us, if on the live screen,
oh wow,
it is basically, it looks like your typical gray alien, like a gray.
Yep.
Yeah.
You've got your, little mouth, like a slit for a mouth, kind of like a pushed up nose, kind of almost just looks like 2 nostrils, very big eyes, and kind of just basically your typical gray alien.
Typical alien, yeah.
Yeah. So, and I don't know if this picture's real or not, but
I don't know. I love that every time, we you have your staple aliens, and they're always humanoid. That's always the cool. Because, you could beg the question or the argument that, who's to say that it's supposed to look like that? Life could form in any kind of way. Look, the blob is, algae, sophisticated fungi and mushrooms. But at the same time, like, when you talk about advanced life, there are complex geometric patterns that are very, favorable to complex life. So, it could be that these are our ancestors, or we could be theirs. They're coming back to check on us.
It is, like you just said. like you said, it is weird how that, like, what if life does kind of evolve like that? Like, this is basically, or intelligent life, not like, necessarily like there could be squids on a planet somewhere, crystallized squids and
reach
stuff.
That, there's every species you're going to hit a ceiling. Your physical capabilities. Like a squid, as smart as he can be, he's got to be in that water. As smart as he can be, he ain't got fingers.
Yeah. Okay, so
I guess that begs the question. Sorry, I'm just going to interject real fast, but that begs the question of evolution and all that. You stated, what if there are ancestors, or what if there are we're their ancestors?
Yeah.
And complete complex life. Just in the great words of Dr. Ian Malcolm, life finds a way. So
yeah.
He said that on the last one too.
They could be old Earthlings that already made it away, and we're the stupid monkeys that got left behind, and we're just catching up, to where they were at. And Bex, that's why they're visiting, or would be.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think it's a field trip. They're just driving by. Look, kids, there's all the stupid monkeys down there. That's where we came from. That's how.
Lock the door. Roll the windows out. Lock the doors.
Yeah.
Okay, so going back to SERPO real quick. Basically, so we sent a group of 12 people that were. I'm pretty sure. Did they call them the Galactic 12? Is that what they were called?
I don't know, honestly.
I hope they did.
I'm pretty sure they were the Galactic 12. And basically, they had, like Trey had said, they had left one EBE behind. And basically, it was a 12-for-1 exchange, 12 of us for one of them. And then they had went to SERPO.
I love how, first off, I just got to cut in. I love how that's how they valued us. It's like, all right, you got one of ours. Give me a clearing dozen and we'll call it even.
Before we actually get onto the actual planet, I do have more information that is actually pretty intriguing.
Before we get to the planet, it is very important to know that on the way to SERPO, that one of the our people had died.
Yeah.
They had said that it was basically I think it was like a blood clot or like a.
I think it was an aneurysm. I think it was.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah.
Okay,
so going back to
we had lost one person on the way. I didn't mean to cut you off. We had lost one person on the way to SERPO. I just wanted to specify that. So whenever we got there was only 11 of us, and not 12.
Yeah.
There's that missing guy.
Yeah. So
poor guy didn't even make it, man. That sucks.
No, he didn't. That's
It comes into importance later in the story as well, that this dead person. So.
Yeah. So going back a little bit ways, in 1952, the December, they had made contact where I left off with the probiotic Zeta Reticuli, and so apparently in 1952, the transmissions, they finally made contact with SERPO, and it transpired over the next 9 years, and that's when we decided, hey, here's 12 people, 10 men and 2 women. A lot of people will say it was only just men, but any plausible place that I looked said 12 Americans, 10 men and 2 women.
Yeah, that was pretty much the ongoing thing. Was it was 10 men
yeah,
and 2 women. Like you said, a lot of them said also there was just 12 men, but I don't know.
Yeah, I heard even the reports that there was only just 3 people, but
no, I don't think it was 3.
Yeah, it
feels like it was
ridiculous. So the restriction requirements, like you said, they basically had to be, cut all ties with anybody, even they were like orphan or just all alone by themselves. It was not required, but having living family members like parents or siblings was not ideal. Of course, like you said, they would be gone for 10 years, so no one on Earth could question where they would be or not. And then it says the exchange was scheduled to occur at Holloman Air Force Base on April 24th, 1964. And actual research indicates that April 24th, 1964 was a Lonnie Zamora incident, where a police officer, Lonnie Zamora, saw an alien spacecraft.
Oh, wow. I did not know that, actually.
Yeah, there are reports about it. You can go online and look it up. Actual policeman, he actually saw, a a spaceship stopped in the middle of the road. He said he saw two, biological entities working on the ship or checking their surroundings or whatever. But this is actually a real life UFO case.
So this was basically the supposed day that they had done the exchange.
Yeah, yep. And then so somehow or some way it got rescheduled until a year
I'd actually
heard
later
that
it got rescheduled. Like the Ebens
they came back, took their dead aliens, and then they left for a year, and then returned back in July of 1965 to actually do the exchange program.
So it's taken them, the aliens making their trip takes about a year, running a trip back home, right?
Yeah.
But for
Yeah.
us,
It didn't say exactly. Yeah, it was 10 months. The trip was actually 10 months.
It was 10 months. So it was a little bit less than a
for
year.
the people. So how long did they stay there?
Well, they were supposed to stay
13
10 years, but they stayed 13.
Yeah, so that means they're on planet for what? 11 and a half, 12 years?
Yeah,
Wow.
on SERPO. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
it was says due to. Go ahead.
I mean, you're talking about just thinking about the people that want to stay behind. I mean, that's a long time to. I'm sure they established some kind of life in this new world, and it was scary to go back,
Oh,
Make
definitely.
the trip again after watching a dude die. I don't know if I'd want to make the trip again.
I mean, that's kind of like the American justice system. People actually who are hardened criminals. Well, I can't necessarily say hardened criminals, but people who've been behind bars for 20 plus years, 30 years. They have a difficult time adjusting back to civilian life. Same with the military.
Yeah. And talk about that
they're more
shock expanded over to an entire new planet, species.
Yep.
That's probably a pretty heavy culture shock. Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so basically, what happens when they get to SERPO, Trey? Like, what do they describe SERPO, the planet, to kind of be about?
It says the astronauts were overwhelmed with the brightness of two suns. It was about 107 degrees, and they were all in great discomfort due to the heat, which remained a problem for them during their entire stay on the planet. And that's all I got.
The temperature basically stayed for between 94 degrees and 115 degrees. They had clouds and rain, but not very frequently, so it didn't rain a whole lot. This is just coming from the captain of SERPO, or the Galactic 12, that took so many notes. And like I said, it's like 3,000 pages. I don't know if it's all notes. I don't think it's all notes. Yeah. But at the northern hemisphere of the planet, the temperature dropped to between 55 and 80 degrees. The team did find Ebens living in the north, but in very small villages that they lived in. They were kind of like huts.
Yeah.
And just to kind of
indigenous aliens.
What you're telling me is this is Tatooine. And
basically,
Luke's
yeah.
and
Basically,
Uncle are there, and they work in the water mine.
Yeah, drinking their bluish green milk. Back in the back.
So if you're watching the live stream right now, you can see behind of us, this is kind of just like an artist rendition of kind of what SERPO kind of looked like. It was very deserty. They didn't have a lot of wildlife except for snakes. And it just sounds like a shitty place, man. Like really dry, suns.
Maybe they're maybe they're big civilizations. Because you're talking about a species that's transcended their planet. They probably got the good stuff next door on some other planet. But
actually, I'm going to cut in.
Underground, yeah.
I'm going to cut in real fast. This apparently wasn't the Ebens' first home planet.
Okay.
They actually, apparently, according to sources, got into a war with another group of aliens, and they had to relocate to SERPO.
Yeah. That's kind of the
wow! So
thing.
we might have been catching them on the down end of that, where they actually needed a little bit of help.
Yeah.
Just to kind of go in with a few more things that the Galactic 12 have noticed, that the Ebens apparently had vehicles, which they kind of floated above the ground and didn't have any tires or wheels. So basically, if you think of just a floating car, I guess, or what you would think of, there were leaders, but no real form of government. There's virtually like no crime. They did have an army, which acted as like a police force. No guns or weapons of any type were seen, and there were regular meetings with the small communities. There was a large community who acted at the central point of the civilization, and all of the industry was at this one large community, and that it is also stated that there was like no money. Trey, you might have to restart your video.
You said they didn't see any weapons?
No, like.
Wow.
Yeah, there's like none. Did you hear me, Trey?
Either they weren't wanting to show it to them, or it's more than that.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, like, so, like, this civilization that lived on this planet, basically, I know Trey had said that they were at war, but for the most part, it seems like they were more peaceful, or at least now they are.
Yeah, now that they lost.
Yeah.
Sure they're real fucking people.
Go ahead, Trey.
It also did say, going back to where you said they ventured out into the northern part. I think they did that after like a few years, like 6 years is what I read. Like they stayed there baking in the sun for 6 years until they actually like, all right, let's go find some shade, bros.
Yeah, and it's also like basically the Galactic 12 pretty much had stated that like when they had arrived at the planet, because of the two suns, it was almost unbearable for them without like sunglasses. So they had to like wear, because they had brought a lot of equipment and stuff with them. Obviously, they planned on staying 10 years, and they ended up staying 13. It's very important also to note that we had said earlier that someone had passed away on the way there. The Ebens apparently had taken the body and dissected the human, and they had like this little laboratory, and that they had their, like the EBEs had like scientists that would dissect the body, and they had taken the DNA of that person and mixed it with their own and spliced it to kind of form a hybrid. And in this laboratory, it said that there was tons of different creatures and stuff in tanks, and I think they went on the lieutenant or the head had said that he had saw the dark side of the civilization, that they're not all friendly, that there are. Okay,
so I want you guys listening or watching, and you too as well, to actually remember that what you just said, laboratory. Tanks, hybrids, all that. I want y'all to remember that because I got a plot twist coming at y'all.
You want to hit it now, or you want me to keep going?
No, keep going. But I do want to add. Yeah, I do want to add that after a few years, when the Americans moved to the northern part of the planet where it was cooler and they were able to grow food more to their liking, because apparently even food tasted like paper to them.
Yeah, it's very that they describe that it tastes like paper.
Yeah, like paper. They had taken with them food to last for more than 2 years, but when they ran out, they had to eat even food, which was never likable. And then it adds, due to radiation exposure, 2 of the members of the expedition died. So 2 more people gone.
Mm-hmm. So you said that the food that they brought tasted like paper?
No, the Ebens
had.
Oh, the Eden's food.
Okay. Yeah, they just described it as paper.
Well,
and it's kind of ironic that you said that It's ironic that you said it tasted like paper, because in this story also, it's because it's not all about what's going on in SERPO. It's about going on, at Earth too. The Eben that we had kept apparently could like not digest our food, like it couldn't digest meat properly, and then they would just feed it vegetables and cheeses, and that the Eben apparently had died. I think 5 years later, I believe. I think it was 5 years later.
I'm not sure what exactly. I think it was 1952 is what it was.
Okay. So like the Ebens, I mean, they're used to eating like paper stuff and all that. After that Eben, that EBE1 had, or EBE1 or EBE2, Trey?
The one that stayed on Earth was EBE1.
EBE1, okay. So EBE1, supposedly they had dissected him afterwards, or did an autopsy, and all of their organs and stuff, they kind of had the same organs as us, but they had like a heart and lung combo. So their lungs were actually located conjoined with their heart. Wow. And they didn't have a lot of the same insides as us. They kind of did, but not really. And apparently their their heart, and once they had died, the heart lung combo, you could see it starting to kind of mush. I don't know if it was from hitting the oxygen or what, but they had said that it was a consistency of like peanut butter. Which is just weird.
Oh, hang on. Somebody Google when peanut butter was invented.
Oh, no.
It's probably way before that, but close enough.
I'm about to look. Hang on.
Peanut butter? I think it was in the 18-somethings.
I got it. 1895.
1895.
Oh, okay. We're good.
I would have screamed if you didn't say the year.
Thank God. Yeah.
I should have known better than that, though. The 50s. But you got this new thing called peanut butter, man?
Yeah, dude. It tastes like alien mush.
It's got that alien heart lung taste to it.
So also, I did want to add that the Ebens had their gray and dull skin, and some reports say it was actually tough like leather due to the two suns. So again, it was going with what you said. You know, the higher complexity of a life form. I mean, you see that already on Earth. You know, people in the middle of the equator are darker. People further away are lighter. You know, it's all about adaptation to your environment.
Yeah. Like SERPO, it just kind of seems like it was just a really Trey, your video's messed up again. It just feels like it's just a really weird planet. Like, it's just weird, you know?
Well, here's the thing, like, if you know, I was either government or either side, if you're sending any of your people over to another place, you know, especially another planet, pathogens, entire different atmosphere, different elements for all, you know, I mean, entirely different place, you know, the sheer existence will kill you. Do a little bit of testing. You know, we're essentially just sent a dozen guinea pigs is what we did, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, really. I mean, the first two aliens crashing, that is what it is, but...
Yeah.
Yeah, we sent a dozen guinea pigs.
I'm gonna have to
maybe we found
restart
out
your
that we
video,
couldn't-
Trey.
Yeah, maybe we found out that we couldn't sustain life no matter how hard we tried, even with their help, so we never went back.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a weird thing anyways. Basically, also they kind of noted that they didn't like have like any stores or shopping malls or locations, which makes sense. I mean, I don't know why you would have that. I don't even know why that they even thought to comment on it, but all the Ebens worked together in some capacity. Children, think this part's weird too. Children were kept very isolated. You know, the only trouble that our guys, the Galactic 12, had gotten in with them was they attempted to photograph the Eben children, and the Army basically said, like, you can't do that. If you do that, then there's going to be consequences. So they were very overprotective of their children, which is
younglings.
Which is good.
No, I read once. This one's SERPO.org as well, but the actual Americans got to witness like the birth and actually see a live birth of the Ebens, and actually be there for that. So, I mean, I couldn't imagine like you know, we said earlier that, you know, they're humanoid at least, but you can't really say, you know, if they have the same reproductive organs as humans does.
Yeah. Which, I mean, at the same time, like, just showing the fact that they still physically give birth. Because, I mean, if they're at the point where they can travel the stars, they can make a perfect baby in a test tube, you know? So that kind of humanizes them, if a little bit, you know, like that they still choose to physically give birth, and that, you know, they probably feel love just like we do, and they love their children, and, you know, they choose to do that.
Yep.
Trey, you might want to restart your video again.
Oh, I did, man.
You're cool. Just difficulties. It was 3 people this time, so it might be why. So like, okay, so let's get into that. That's pretty much. Is there anything else you guys want to add to SERPO, or before we start theorizing on some stuff?
Other than the report said the population of SERPO at the time visited was about 650,000, and all
Which is
were even.
extremely small.
Yeah.
Wow.
How many people on Earth? Is it like 6 billion? Or something?
7.8 billion.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is a very, very, very small civilization.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you gotta think it's
more
it's-
likely that was an outpost that we visited or something. Or
Yeah,
it
yeah,
probably
it's-
wasn't their good stuff. That was probably the impoverished people. To them.
Yeah.
like I said earlier, this actually their refugee home. So maybe they didn't bring all of them. Maybe more perished in the war that they had.
Maybe Serpo's not their, like you said, it's not their home planet. Maybe it's just a certain amount of them that actually went from their old planet to Serpo.
Yep.
Or they're just crashing on the couch at Serpo until they go back to space. And
let's regroup here, guys.
Yeah, like, oh man, dude, I need some rest, dude. Let's go back to Serpo. I'll pay for a couple nights. It's like a hotel, and then we'll go back.
That's all a lie. It's just a big ass alien strip club that nobody likes to talk about.
Yeah, y'all both have to restart your videos, by the way. It's messed up.
Yeah,
People that are
Serpo
listening audio-wise,
just,
I'm sorry that you have to hear me keep talking about that, but
You're killing
I don't know
it.
if it's just. I think it's just Zoom. I don't know. I'm sorry. Okay, so let's theorize on Serpo.
Hold on, one second. So
Okay.
we let me add. So 2 members already mentioned died of radiation exposure,
Mhm.
and then 2 more stayed on there because they liked it so much.
That's
it doesn't say
true,
whether it was a man and a woman or 2 men or 2 women. I have no idea who stayed and who came home. But the remaining astronauts returned home in 1978, and the government quarantined them for an entire year, which they went through, testing, reviews, debriefings. Like you had stated, that ended up being a 3,000-page report. And the last known survivor died in 2002, and what's more eerie is that they all died from radiation poisoning.
Yeah. So, and all this information started leaking out in 2006. So literally just a few years after the supposed last person died.
Yeah. We got to think about their atmosphere. They got 2 suns. It's practically twice the radiation,
Yep.
I'm sure, obviously not, otherwise it'd be really hot, but more radiation.
Yeah. So here's my take on Serpo. It seems like a lot of information. A lot of the stories are consistent, which is good. A lot of people are consistent with the stories. It kind of stays. People aren't adding a lot of new details to it, which is good, which makes it more believable. But to me, and I really truly believe this, have you guys seen Close Encounters of the Third Kind? Steven Spielberg movie?
No, I haven't.
Well, this story really sounds like that movie.
Who copied who?
I mean, there's even, we didn't mention it, but I guess we can mention it. There's also a part that they say that the Ebens communicated in like a tonal language. So it was like, ooh, ooh, like have you...
Oh, so like music notes?
Oh,
Yeah.
One more time. What do they sound like? Tell me again.
Like...
Just do it one more time.
Ooh.
like the Halo theme songs.
Yeah. Oh.
That's funny. No, but like it to me it feels like too much like a movie. Like it feels like, and then you kind of get really like into the details, and then we were like in this spacecraft that we have our supplies. We took like 4-wheelers and fucking tanks and guns and ammo, and like why were we taking all that? That just seems like overkill. Like why would you take live ammo and guns to an alien planet where you're trying to do like a peace, where you would think a peace treaty or peace offering? There's 650,000 of them, and there's 12
like
of you.
$18,000. It costs like $18,000 to send a damn orange to space.
Yeah.
Box of ammunition, forget about it.
I mean,
Well, I always
you
said-
they think they're going to a hostile planet they never been on.
Yeah,
Who knows what could be there? It literally is just like James Cameron Avatar. I mean, why do we have to bring all those big machines and all that if it was supposed to be peaceful and for research?
We got a lot riding on this possibly one-way trip. We don't want to send everybody over there just to die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but Trey, didn't you mention that they only sent enough food for 2 years?
No, I think that was a mispronunciation on my part. So this was when they were moving to the north. Because if I go back, let me see. Okay, so the Earth travelers took literally tons of supplies with them, including food, medicine, weapons, jeeps, and motorcycles. Sorry. And when I mentioned that taking with them food to last more than 2 years on their venture to the north part.
I just can't get over the fact that they took jeeps and motorcycles. You
Yeah,
got like
that's
a
what-
fucking,
yeah,
you got a
that's what
fucking
I'm saying.
Galactic 12 guy and
Yeah.
a Wrangler just going. Yeehaw!
Yeah, there was one guy's like, I gotta have my back.
It's like the most
Go on
American thing
planet
ever.
After,
Like we need guns and
Yeah, yeah.
jeeps. I mean, the way that they
Yeah.
describe
Yeah.
Serpo, like that's like the perfect place for a jeep if it's like a desert.
yeah. It's like half the budget was just American flags that we shipped over there. Put it everywhere you can.
It's like the most American thing ever. Like you go to the planet and you're like, it's mine now. Like,
Yeah. Are you new here? It's America, motherfucker.
Hang on one second. I'll be right back. I left a note on my table. I will be right back.
no, you're fine.
We'll hold our breath.
Well, hold on. All right, all right, Cody. So, what's your whole theory, or what's your theory on
My general
Serpo? Like, what
feeling.
do you-
I mean, I think it's a really great story. It's a beautiful story. Make a great movie, book. I just think logically, there's way too many holes. Like way too many holes. You got. I mean, first off, if we had the technology to send guys 30 light years away at 750,000 miles per second,
yeah,
you know how many, like, a drop of that technology could solve all modern problems in the world, you know? Or just propel us to, you know, populate our own new planet, you know? Elon Musk is 30 years away, you know, let alone if we were already doing the trip 50 years ago. So I think it just, logically speaking, it doesn't make enough sense to me.
yeah. It's easy to get
It's
lost
really
in the
cool,
details. Yeah,
Yeah, it's really cool, though.
but yeah, I think
But
I'm
I
with
mean,
you on
yeah.
that.
Yeah, it's one of those you want to believe it, you really, really do, but it just doesn't make enough sense to, you know, this species is intergalactic travel and they come to us. What can we do for them, you know?
Yeah.
Surely coming here and seeing us, they had to have realized, okay, these guys can't be of any help, you know?
All
Why
right,
would they
I'm
be
back.
like,
Sorry.
12 of you, hop on, we need you.
No, I don't necessarily, and that's the thing. I don't necessarily think that we were like looking like, or they were looking like, oh, we need you. I think that we were the ones that were like,
Talk to them.
we want to
into
check
it,
this
you
shit
know?
out.
Yeah.
I don't really think they
Maybe.
really cared if we came along or not. But
I don't know. I think they will, because you got to think too. Like, if you are an alien species and you're inviting a new species to your planet, do you understand like the biological hazard that poses to you and your people? Like, oh my god, like that's a big
Trey,
deal.
video's
you know?
messed up again, Trey. No,
Don't
you're good.
fix
You're
the
good.
thing,
You're
I
good.
love
Good.
it.
Never mind. It stopped.
No, okay.
It's good.
Well, no, I was just standing still looking at my phone, so
Oh.
that probably might have been why.
That time he was so still. I swear, I didn't see you blink or anything. I really thought your
No,
video
because
messed up.
I couldn't find my note that I had just for this, but
I'm gonna keep holding still now to mess with Jordan.
No, but like it makes me think too. Like, obviously, Serpo, they're like way more intelligent than us. They're like extraterrestrials, so obviously they're like more powerful than us. Doesn't it? If you're that EBE that they left on Earth, don't you kind of feel like it's a big middle finger? Like, why would you leave me on
I'm
this
pissed
shitty
off.
planet?
How did I get the short straw? Like, why didn't I get to ride back home with those guys? Like,
Yeah, like, and then they don't eat meat.
they're
They're
all
thinking
going
like.
home.
And they don't eat meat. They're like thinking like they kill their animals and eat their animals. I don't want to eat this crap. This is disgusting. Give me the paper.
Oh, like, realistically, you got to think about his day-to-day life. That little dude was strapped to a damn board somewhere, like getting fed with an IV or something. Like, they didn't give a shit about him. You kidding
No,
me?
what it was is he crash landed, and the other EBEs were like, "All right, man, you crashed the ship. Well, now you gotta pay
Yeah.
for it.
We're done with you.
You're
or
staying
if
behind, buddy."
you're Seth MacFarlane, it's Roger from American Dad. What's the EBE one?
He is. He
Can I have some of the paper? Your video went out again, Trey. This time I'm
No,
for
it's
sure.
just-
You're definitely not.
I don't know. I don't know what
that.
else.
You're
to
definitely
do,
not
man.
standing still this time. we'll get this figured out. Maybe Zoom's not the best conference thing. Maybe we'll do Skype from now on, but or whatever. But
Yeah, it might be
uh,
Zoom.
might be better. And it's not a shot at Zoom or anything. But so Trey, what's your whole take on SERPO Project SERPO?
Okay, so I think there was something actually transpired that didn't involve us going to another planet at all. So, researching SERPO, I came across a Zeta Reticuli conspiracy. So,
Okay.
what this was that the Greys actually wooed a team of American people who sent R12 to actually an exchange program, but they were actually being transferred to a vivarium underground complex. So a vivarium complex is basically like a zoo enclosure. So it's a false habitat um, for a certain breed of human or alien or animal or whatever to grow up and think, hey, this is my world, right?
So they Truman showed them.
Yeah, that's what I was
Yeah,
thinking too. Whenever you
basically,
said that, I was like,
basically.
it's either the Truman
Yeah.
Show or the Simpsons movie.
It's a classic
Actually,
Truman show.
so actually researching because honestly I didn't know the definition of vivarium, but I actually came across a movie on Amazon Prime with Jesse Eisenberg called Vivarium, and it's pretty creepy. Actually, it's not the best movie out there, but it's pretty creepy in general. I'll give a little synopsis of it. So the cuckoo bird that goes and lays its nest in another bird's nest. And
Oh
then
yeah.
it hatches. The cuckoo actually pushes out the birds, and the mother of that nest thinks, "Hey, this is my baby. Let me take
Yeah.
care of it." So basically, Vivarium on Amazon Prime with Jesse Eisenberg in there is like a cuckoo bird, which they call it a brood parasitic bird, which actually, like I described, lays its egg and has another bird take care of the baby. So in this movie, Jesse Eisenberg and the other actress, I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but the movie actually opens up with a cuckoo bird showing, it laying the egg, pushing the other birds out of the nest. And throughout the movie, these two characters are looking for a dream home. So they go to a actual, realtor who is very, very creepy. He actually looks like an alien, but in human form. Like he's just so creepy. He has no human interaction skills whatsoever. And so they're like, okay, fuck it, let's look at this house. So they drive off, and then they are stuck there. There's no way out. Like they actually drove there themselves with the car, and then they get stuck there. They spend all night trying to get out of this suburban neighborhood, which in fact every house was the same. I mean, from the windows to the roof to the color of the house, everything was the same. And the clouds were even just shaped as clouds. Like it was completely and utterly falsified that this was actually a real neighborhood in a real earth setting, because these clouds were shaped like clouds, like just perfectly little cloud shaped clouds. So this dude shows them the home. Then he just leaves somewhere, right? So he leaves. They're stuck there. Like I mentioned before, they're stuck there. They actually drive around for hours until it's dark and their car runs out of gas. So they have no actual way to get out, so they just stay the night. Well, the next morning they open a box and it has like toothbrushes, toothpaste, food, hygiene products, all that. So they take it inside and they're like, someone's fucking with us, right? So Jesse Eisenberg's character actually tries to burn down the house. They fall asleep. Before that, they watch it burn. They fall asleep. They wake up. There's another box on the street with a fucking baby in there. Then it has a note. It says, "Raise the child. You're free to go." So all throughout the movie, they are raising this child. They have no idea what it is, who it is, where they are at, and they actually tick a mark. In the next scene, they tick a mark on like the wall where you measure kids when they grow up, and they write day 92. So they are there for 92 days already. So throughout the movie, it gets creepier and creepier. Jesse Eisenberg digs a big ass hole trying to figure out where it leads to because he flicks the cigarette and it hits the kid that they're trying to raise because they hate him, mind you. They hate him. They don't know what he is. They just want to go home. So he flicks the cigarette. It bounces off, lands on the grass, and the grass actually just instantaneously just burns like a hole, like just instantaneously, like no slow burn, no nothing. It just burns the grass. So he starts digging and digging throughout the movie. That's all he does is throughout the movie. And this kid, actually, he, like, again, the salesperson, he has no human interaction whatsoever. So he doesn't know how to act towards humans. He screams when he's hungry. Like, he has no idea how to be an actual human nor alien. But so they keep raising him until he's actually a full ass grown adult. And then, you know, the movie just keeps going. Jesse Eisenberg character dies, you know, spoilers, but he actually, before he dies, he finds a body bag at the bottom of the hole that he has spent this whole movie digging. And so, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, about to say, I was trying to get a picture.
Yeah, that's Vivarium. So then this dude is full-fledged adult. And he actually kicks out that woman, which I would have to learn her name. I apologize, but I don't know it.
Fix your video real quick, Trey.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. I spent too much time talking on this movie.
Anyway, I was just curious whenever you said that, like the baby, and you said like you were referring to it as it and all that. I was thinking like maybe the baby was like an alien.
But in actual, that woman there, she kind of tends to the child more than Jesse Eisenberg does, but he goes off somewhere and they didn't know where he was. So she asked him, actually, like, where have you been? He's like, I can't tell you that. That's a secret. While he's watching this weird ass, like, hypnotic screen on TV. Like, I guess it's either their TV or someone's telling them what to do and how to do it. But she plays a game, like, she says, let's play pretend. She's like, can you be Tom was Jesse Eisenberg's character's name. And he starts acting like Tom. He's like, can you be me? And he starts being her. And then she's like, can you play pretend of the person you met earlier? Because he mentioned he met a person. And he's like, yeah, because again, he's an alien. He don't know, you know, that he's being tricked. So all of a sudden he starts like hunching over and like lifting his neck, and like these big ass frog type pockets start forming.
Oh, Jesus.
And he just starts making a noise, and then she's horrified and starts scooting back. And I'm just like, wow. So they're basically frogs as an alien. And I mean, the visual effects on it was pretty cool. But anyway, again, I'm gonna wrap.
So like
this
his
up,
neck was like expanding, like it was like.
Yeah, it was like he reached back and like big ass pockets started forming, and he's just making like that.
Oh no,
right there.
Ugh.
It's creepy.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, he's playing pretend to the person. Yeah, he's playing pretend to the person he ran off to see. So, you know, on and on. He grows up. He locks him out of the house. Jesse Eisenberg dies. She tries to kill him as an adult with a pickaxe because I forgot this detail, but Jesse Eisenberg's character was like a school caretaker or like, I would just say caretaker. He had all these tools like a shovel, a pickaxe, all this in the back of his car. So she tries to kill him, misses, like swipes him right here. He starts bleeding. All of a sudden, he turns around, lifts up the fucking sidewalk and crawls under it.
Jesus
into
Christ.
another dimension.
Whoa.
Another dimension. So he crawls into another dimension. She follows. She falls through the floor, and it's more people just like them taking care of other alien children.
Oh wow.
And then
That's
she
crazy.
tries to get out, but she ends up back at the house they were staying at, which was number 9. And then she dies. He puts her body in a body bag, throws it in the hole. The hole magically fills up like nothing ever happened. Then he goes back to the real estate where the dude who sold him the house earlier is dead. And then he takes his name tag, puts it on him, and then that's the movie.
Jesus.
So,
That's the whole. You just told us the whole movie.
Yeah, I don't
dude.
need to watch it
So
now.
spoilers. I mean, it's still a good watch.
You just
if
saved me
anybody
2
wanted to
hours.
watch it, but
Oh, you just saved me 2 hours, man.
but anyway, so what I was originally leading up to was that they didn't actually go to SERPO. They went to a vivarium complex, which, if you ever heard of the Dulce base, that is
Yeah,
a
the Dose. Oh
conspiracy
my
in
gosh, dude, that was crazy.
that's a conspiracy in itself. So
Mm.
we'll have to talk about a later episode. But
There's one too that
from
I it's called the Montahawk Project, Montauk Project.
Oh yeah, Montauk.
Montauk, yeah, the one that was
Montauk,
based
yeah.
on Stranger Things, or Stranger Things is based on
Yeah.
the Montauk Project.
Yeah,
Oh,
That's
okay.
one
I
that's
had no idea.
really
Yeah.
interesting too that we should get into sometime.
Yeah, it's a good one.
But no, like you were talking
so
about,
yeah.
like they're basically so in this movie, or so you're saying with Serpo is kind of like a way for them to brainwash these Galactic 12, or kind of make them think that it's like a
basically,
false reality.
They actually,
Simulation
yeah,
theory.
definitely. So it's not actual, simulation theory. So it's not actually a planet at all. It's a vivarium complex. Just stated by Memorandum 6751, which was a U.S. document dated 8th of July 1947 that was declassified in the year 2010 and disclosed to the public on the FBI archives. And I actually skimmed over this. It has like a basic paragraph up top, and then it has 9 little side notes on there. So it was actually signed by Barack Obama in Executive Order 13526 that declassified other information. So you can actually go online to these FBI archives and find Memorandum 6751. And like I said, here are the reasons why they listed that they never even went off planet. So it skips line 1, goes to line 2. It says their mission is peaceful and their agenda is to settle Earth. So that obviously being the Ebens. Number 3, the beings are human-like but much larger in size. And lines 4 to 6 describes multi-dimensional beings from an etheric planet, which ether in general is actually dark matter, a quintessence subject that is used all over like theology and other religions, even science. So
Dark matter.
yeah, dark matter. Actually, I looked it up just to have a specific category to describe it as. But dark energy or dark matter is an unknown form of energy that affects the universe on the largest scales. The first observational evidence for its existence came from measurements of a supernova, which showed that the universe does not expand at a constant rate. Rather, the expansion of the universe is accelerating.
Yeah. So the everything in the entire universe that we can see, touch, observe, measure is 5% of everything. The other 95% is dark matter.
Yep.
So at a certain point, way back, there was a war between the two matters, and dark matter won. But dark matter being weird in the sense that it doesn't follow the law of dilution over distance, which any energy, a water gun to a supernova explosion, as the energy goes out, the further it goes out, it'll dilute and become weaker.
Mhm.
That does not apply to dark matter or dark energy. That's why everything pushes out faster and faster instead of slower and slower.
Yep.
Yeah, it's the force that pushes everything apart.
Okay, so this continue on with the memorandum. So number 7 on the line of the memorandum is weaponized with radiant energy to enter the etheric or cross dimensions at will. So, like you said, a simulation experience, actual multi-dimensional, and this what gives it away. Line number 8 through 9 says likens the world with Locus or Talus, which is actually Hindu mythology. Refers to the world's deities and other alternate dimensions. So the SERPO release. Oh, sorry, that's the wrong line. Yeah, and that's about it in Memorandum 6751.
Yeah.
And this is like
Also
actual
have a
like
couple
official
other notes.
stuff. Like you said this was
Yeah.
FBI documents.
Yeah, FBI archive. So
I think that's
those,
even more likely, really.
So
Yeah.
those were the lines of what the vivarium complex consisted of and what their ideals were. So this actually goes into detail of why they never left Earth. So SERPO is actually a code name, which is actually not regarded as a planet. The description of two suns is theoretically not how they would appear, but due to the distance between the two suns and the two affecting difference in magnitude. So there obviously couldn't have been two suns, according to whoever wrote this.
Yeah, a solar system with two suns would be too chaotic for anything to live on. Far too.
That we know of. We're thinking
that we know of,
realistically. We're thinking like with the human mind, though.
Well, you got to think that the gravitational waves of two suns rotating around each other. Oh my God! Any kind of life would be very hard to sustain.
Yeah. Well,
in that system.
Our kind of life, though.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Even describing the grays, or it had to be some microbial, little.
And who's to say it's like Who's to say it's like big as our sun? Maybe it's like two smaller suns.
It could be two small suns.
Or maybe they're far enough away from both the suns that way that.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't know. We just.
Well, if you got if you have a wall of infinite knobs, and all those knobs correlate to different elements, different measurements in the universe, eventually you're going to hit a combination through the infinity of everything for life to exist. That's one of the theories. It's just that through the sheer chances of everything, life is very, very, very rare. But odds are there's more of it.
Yeah, definitely. That's a good analogy too. Okay, so my next few, it's about to wrap up this Zeta conspiracy is what it's called. But so remember those people who all died to radiation exposure?
Yes.
So this says high exposure to radiation not likely to occur on a Zeta planet given the scientific likeliness of the Zeta sun with our sun and the extreme distance of the second sun. Exposure to higher doses of radiation is more likely to occur in the Earth's underground, closer to the core. So there's
a lot of thermal radiation down there. But I mean, with that being said, I feel like there are far too many variables when it comes to gauging the atmosphere of a planet without being able to be there. Or, because who knows what their atmosphere looks like, the layers, the ozone, it could be way more detrimental than ours or way thicker. So, who knows,
Well, they basically, really the idea to terraform a planet, they pretty much say that to change the atmosphere, I believe is either Venus or Mars. I'm wanting to say it's Mars, that they just want to nuke.
I was about to say, if we nuke the northern pole and the southern pole, it'll help speed up that process and melt.
Well, Venus's atmosphere is livable. The atmosphere, not Venus itself.
I was about to say the atmosphere,
yeah,
not the
actual
surface is
planet.
like storms of acid and whatnot.
If you were able to create a society that lives in the atmosphere of Venus, it's habitable. Mars, on the other hand,
Cloud City.
We would have to nuke it to terraform it in order to live.
We got to change this show to just proving Star Wars correct.
What is a parsec?
A parsec, man, that always bothered me actually, because he's like, he said I made the Kessel Run in less than 4 parsecs or whatever. A parsec's a real thing. It's how we measure the distance between suns.
What do you say?
Yeah,
it's not a unit of time. It's a unit of distance.
Yeah, it's a unit of distance. Yeah.
So how do you make it under?
They actually knew that, but they stuck with it because.
Yeah, we knew that knowledge back in the 70s.
They just stuck with it because it's canon now. So
yeah, too late. Got to lean into it. In the Star Wars universe, that's how it works.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I'm gonna finish up mine.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, I'm gonna finish up mine real fast. So then again, those due to radiation exposure is more likely to happen underground than actually from the sun. So when SERPO documents were released on SERPO.org back in 2005. It was quickly realized that the members. Oh, okay. Well.
Yeah, so that was the earliest. So I was just.
Yeah, idiot. 2006.
Yeah.
Not that it really matters. Not that it really matters because this is a fucking Request Anonymous email boards that this started on.
Actually, back to Request Anonymous. So, have you ever heard the name of Richard Doherty?
Yes, Richard Doherty. Yes. Yeah, I know who that is.
Yeah. So he is one of the most.
Too,
he is one of the most controversial. Just UFOologist or whatever you want to call it, conspiracy with aliens. So apparently it was revealed that he was Request Anonymous. So
really,
going back, he was that's what of course, my report says during my research. It could be completely different. It could have been, a flying sea dragon for all I know. But so actually going to other research categories with Rick Doherty. He's a 20-year veteran of the AFOSI, which is Operation of Special Investigations with the Air Force. Actually,
the Air Force Special Investigations. Sorry.
Yeah. So once, again, in 2005 or 6, whichever one, these documents on SERPO.org were released. But after they released, shortly a time after, one of his books came out with another guy who I forgot the name because it was on my fucking piece of paper I can't find. Actually, they released a book about the exchange program at SERPO.
How shitty is that, too?
So people speculate that this SERPO.org was actually like a rally event for their book releasing.
Yeah, promotional.
That is 100% like I was getting to that eventually because I forgot about Richard Doherty, but that
book wasn't very popular because it took them 10 years on that site to be promoting some stuff.
Well, that's perfect for to promote and stuff like that, to just create this false conspiracy theory.
That goes to in another sense, like the government putting out intentional disinformation to seem all powerful.
Yep.
Because why would
Well,
we can do all that,
That was the first thing that we were talking about, before we knew anything about Richard Doherty, before we started knowing anything about the fact that he had wrote a book. If you read this whole all this stuff on this website, the first thing that's going to go through your mind is this would make a really good book or movie.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
And it did. The dude made a book, and then he sold it. And to me, I feel like that makes me feel like it's a bunch of bullshit.
He was actually also there's on Gaia. It's actually a website and a streaming service. They had Disclosure, I think is what it's called. I would to come back to that, but he appears on a couple episodes of that, and actually talks about SERPO and how he actually came across documents that were released to him or a friend before actual SERPO.org came to be.
Well, you heard it here first. SERPO, the failed book. Go buy it now.
All right, so let's go round table. One last final thought before we wrap it up, guys. We'll start with Cody, and we'll go Trey, and then we'll go me. Since we're
final.
Y'all need to fix your videos first.
Is my video frozen?
Both of y'all's are, yeah. Perfect timing. I'll go first. While you guys are fixing your videos, I'll go first. I think SERPO's a bunch of bullshit. I was very excited about it when I got into it, and then the more I read into it, the more that I figured out a bunch of stuff. And like you said with Richard Doherty, it really kind of in a way pissed me off because I feel like I just wasted all this time on a bunch of nonsense. I want to believe so bad, though.
We did it so they didn't have to. That's the thing. We did it so they don't have to.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, Trey.
Like you said, man, I would believe it more if they were taken underground to a underground base or Dulce more than we flew 10 months, 40 light years away, to see an alien planet. I mean, for all we know.
Hello?
Trey.
They got him. They got you, bud.
We're busted, man. They're on.
What's going on? You all right, Trey? Can you hear me?
Oh, no.
Okay, Cody, you go, and then maybe Trey will get his stuff done.
SERPO, make it a movie. Just make it a movie, man. It's gonna be good.
They already did, man. Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
It's not based off the same thing. Yeah, I mean,
who's the fuck? No. Listen to this. That movie came out in the '70s, late '70s. It was right after Jaws. That was Spielberg's next movie, and then this
80s.
got 30 years later. This shit comes out. This just sounds like Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Trey, you're really okay. Maybe he'll come back.
Trey, we miss you, Trey.
I hope he comes back to finish this episode. But yeah, SERPO. I don't know, guys. I'm not sold. I'm not completely sold on it at all, actually.
Nah.
But
I'm not either. But it's a very nice story. Very, very well thought out.
Very, very well thought out.
Yeah, it's just there's way too many big logic holes. It's too far fetched for me. Just a little bit. still fun to talk about.
Yep, it is.
Boy, where's Trey at?
I don't know. Okay.
I would love to hear what he has to say.
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up. I don't know where Trey's at. He just texted me. He said, "Bro, what just happened? Hold on, I'm about to call him, and so that he can at least be on the audio part, so we can wrap this up." Hold on. I'm just gonna put you on for audio. That way we can wrap this up.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
No, you're fine. So yeah, basically, that's Project SERPO.
Yeah. Bullshit. In my opinion.
Look it up yourself. If you really want to get into it, like, it's a lot of information.
A lot. But to be taken with a grain of salt, especially. I mean, anything we discuss, that's basically what it's all about. It's taking it with a grain of salt. But yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys, for
Grain of
Project
salt,
SERPO. Special thanks to Cody for being on.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. Whatever you're watching on, listening, like, subscribe, anything you do to show support.
Yeah. Leave us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts if you can. You can find us on Apple Podcasts. You can find us on Spotify. And you can always find our Facebook page and our Twitter page. Facebook page is Probably Aliens Podcast. And then what's the Twitter?
Be sure to follow us on Twitter, Podcast Alien.
Yeah, and we're at, you can look us up on YouTube as well as Probably Aliens Podcast, and you can get this video. That's it, guys. We really appreciate all your support. Just continue to support us, and that's it. So, my name's Jordan.
These trial and errors.
Yeah.
We'll see y'all next time.
Zoom quit out on me, so.
It's okay, bud. We'll see y'all next time, guys.
All right, bye-bye.